All right, welcome back to the show, and we got a guest with us tonight. A few housekeeping things first. This is the last Sunday of April or last Sunday of spring that will go by without hunting turkeys.
Yeah.
They're gobbling, strutting. We're about season's about 2 weeks late coming in, feels like, but it's right around the corner. Youth weekend this weekend coming up. Very excited about that. Very excited to get Bub on a bird. Looks like we got a couple lined out for him. If they'll hang in the area where they're at, then we're in good shape. And
I talked to him
Tyler,
this morning. He was pumped.
yeah, he's excited. He's looking forward to it. Gonna have to get with you this week, Will, to swing by your house and let him practice on his 410.
Yeah. Any day. I was fixing to say if them birds, you called me today when we was talking about that. If something happens to them, we'll find him somewhere.
Oh yeah,
We'll get
Yeah.
him on something.
But anyway, the important topic we're talking about today, we got Hollerback Game Calls. Blake Lawson joining us. Blake, thank you for coming on and talking with us this evening. We appreciate you joining us.
It's a pleasure. I'm sure we'll have many laughs. So
Yeah. Well,
That's what we're here for.
I met, I guess, just an introduction. I met you we talked on the phone probably a little over a year ago, first time. It was probably March of 24, and we talked on the phone. I had a pretty good conversation first time we talked on the phone, I feel like, talking about turkeys, and we've texted a lot through the year and running some of your turkey calls, and really do like them. And man, it's every interaction we've had has always been a good one. So I appreciate you coming on, and you give us a brief introduction of what you do. But
well, since I guess you could say 2000, and I started Hollerback Game Calls, and it's Haller, and that's just because that's how I spelled holler when I was in school, just to aggravate my English teachers. And she said, spell it. Well, I spell it that. Now it's my so that's how I can spell it. But I started making calls. So turkey calls is where I originally started out with box calls, and eventually went into pot calls. But now I make squirrel calls, bleak calls, deer grunt calls, hooters, a few duck calls here and there, rabbit squealers, raccoon squallers. There's some more stuff I know, but I just can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, the hooties. That's a little catchy. Something a little bit different.
Those things are money.
they do sound really good. We were talking about that hybrid pour with the epoxy on there.
Yeah.
It's a good looking, man. Really pretty. And man, and that's the thing that impresses me about your calls is, and it's like this with call makers like you. It's all you start to finish. It's not mass produced, and you can definitely tell with the quality is there on the calls.
Yeah, every one of them handmade, one at a time, and the shop motto is quality over quantity. So if
Right.
that's take the burn pile, and then I start all over. So, but yeah, I don't really to make
It
sure.
shows.
Yeah, it just the ones we've had and fooled with, man, I'm
Uh-huh.
telling you, the quality is there for sure. I know before that one I got off of you last year, I'd never ran one like that with that surface. Got it, fooled around with it, and we beat around in the woods pretty hard. I mean, there's a lot of times we're crawling around on our hands and knees, and these things are beating and banging together in there. And I've got old Primos calls that the pots chip and break, and the wood part. And man, yours have went through a pretty rough spring last year, and they stood the test 100%.
That's a good thing. That's how
Wouldn't you think so? Wouldn't you think so, Wilbur?
Yeah, it's kind of going back to Hoot Owls. That's why I like paused to buy one, because it's so daggone pretty. I'm like, dang, I don't want to spend the money for it just to have it sitting here at the house. But it sounds so good, you can't not take it out too. So it's such a catch-22. Yeah,
That's what I told
agree
him.
with Zach.
But I told Will last week, I said it's too pretty to hunt with, but it sounds too good to leave in a truck.
Yeah,
Which is it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, and then it's like I make wide range. I've got my standard calls, which is nothing special, but just like walnut, cherry, maple, and then our steps that goes up. Like I've got more figured, I've got burls, and then I've also got hybrids, and then I can even do products, but it's the same thing. If I buy it and I turn it and it ain't right, it don't matter if I spend $100 on a blank, I'm gonna burn it. So, because it ain't going.
Man, it shows. It really does.
It's the same way. It's like the turkey calls. I mean, it's you got your standards, and then I've got everything just as deep as as much as money as you want to spend, I'll make it for you, and I can find it. So
Right. Well,
So-
and
I'm guessing that you'll do like custom stuff just for somebody that might be in the market. If they were to message you on say Instagram or something like that, I guess you can make whatever custom, if they can kind of come up with it, you can make it, I'm sure, right?
yeah, that's like I made one for a boy. He wanted one off, which I'll never make another one because it was a ticking time bomb sitting on the lathe. It was in wood, and it had double aluminum inlays, and then it had crushed turquoise inlaid in between those pieces of aluminum, and then it had a high gloss finish.
oh wow.
Holy.
I have a turkey call to match that, so I made him a turkey call to match that exact one, and it's got a titanium surface in it, so I'll never do another one ever. So he's got a one off. But yeah, if anybody wants, that's why I've got connections in Indonesia and all over the place, and we use Google Translate. I got to be up at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning for their start of their shifts at their wood shops. They send me pictures of everything that they have. Well, I got a customer looking for this very specific thing, and then they'll track it down for me and send me pictures back. Ship it. About 3 weeks, I get it, and I spend about 2 months trying it out, and then from there, I start working.
Wow.
That's awesome. How many states would you think you've sold turkey calls to?
I've got-
What's your customer base?
I got turkey call customer wise in 42 states right now.
That's awesome.
It's pretty incredible from Duffield, Virginia.
Yeah, a little one man, no man shot.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's really awesome.
That speaks to the quality. I mean, people talk and word gets around, and you see what happens. I love them.
Then
what's
plus, again,
What's your most popular? Is it seasonal? I guess. Do you sell more deer calls in the fall than turkey calls, or?
no, straight turkey calls. That's what I'm known for. And I have a lot of people reach out to me for very specific calls because they've heard or they've seen or their buddy has used, and usually that's how it all ends up phasing out. And then they say, "Oh, well, you're going to be in Pennsylvania, or you're going to be in Michigan, or we're going to come see you." And they'll drive like an hour or 2 hours, and they'll come and they'll see me and they'll pick up a call. And whenever I get to interact with somebody face to face, I can really hit a call specifically to their hand. Calls.
Wow.
Different, everybody, and being able to actually physically see you and put it in your hand, test everything, go through all the steps to find what suits you and your sound, I can do a lot better instead of just talking on the phone, which on the phone, I can usually get some, if they want a very specific, like tone, rasp, clear, whatever, then I can pretty much manipulate the wood to exactly what they want based on what wood and surface. It's just, I got to change all my measurements. So it's true.
Now, how long have you been doing the coon squallers and the squirrel calls and all that?
Raccoon squallers, I started out in January of last year. So, and we've sold probably close to 700 of them so far.
That's awesome.
But the thing with the squallers, they're not like a lot of other people. A lot of other people, they boil them too hard. The reeds, they cinch up. These, I've got another guy out of Florida. He does a really good job. Like, he was the beta tester. He helped me design like the sound for it. So I used my design, went through back and forth with the manufacturer. I had them custom made just for the sound we was looking for. And to him, his name's Jason Wayne Hunter, and me and him, we actually started partnering up together. So now I sell all the calls to him. He distributes and does everything else, goes to all the shows and stuff. I want to do that stuff. I don't coon hunt. I don't know nothing about raccoon hunting. None of that stuff.
Right.
I don't know the reason chasing a dog through the middle of the mountains at night. That's just me.
Yeah, I'm
Me
with
either,
you.
bro. Me either.
Okay, and that's for them. But our raccoon squallers, they're a lot louder. You can blow them as hard. He's got videos of him actually taking sand, packing the reeds down inside the squaller on both ends, shaking it out, and then blowing it, and it's still going back to back.
No
So,
kidding.
Wow.
I mean, it's built good.
That's
From the
awesome.
coon hunters I met, you probably have to make it bomb proof to survive them suckers. We think we're hard on stuff. Them daggone coon hunters, I'm telling you, they are tough.
They're
They're
rough.
some tough dudes.
That's what I
What
spent
a-
most of my life growing up doing, Will. Chill out there.
That don't make it any less rough on people. I mean, the coon
No,
hunters are rough.
I learned the coon hunt from my papa, just to explain how rough people are. His thought process on cleaning a gun was just shooting it. Yeah, I mean, it was just he was rough like that, but most of them guys
Prime
were.
example.
So you started making the hoo-hooties this year, right? Or
The Hooters, I would make those probably middle of last year, and I was actually
okay.
trying to figure them out. I've never blew out hooter. I never had used one, which I use a truck door. I slam it, turkey gobble, boom, there I go. You know,
Absolutely. That's when you know you're in the right spot.
so I had to actually come down and show me, make owl hooters, make owl hooters. So I eventually told him, you just going to have to come down here and teach me. And he actually brought one of his, showed me how to blow it, teach me the cadence on it, stuff like that. And I started making them. I didn't like them. They didn't sound anything like that one that he brought. And I was like, man, I got to figure something out. So I kept on, and then probably January this year, I actually was down here and I was drilling them out, and I messed up. But I didn't mess up. My mess up actually turned into an aha moment, and I got out of it. It actually has the right, like, highs, lows, all, the lab, everything in it just works out 10 times better. I was like, just one size off and everything else. If I wasn't going to figure this out, and I stumbled upon it, and now that's second generation. So I've got like 20 first generation left, and I'm going to move them out and go ahead and start replacing them with the second gens that way. So I got a better product.
Yeah, man, the one that you made me it's awesome. And I have had problems out of owl hooters in the past, kind of like what you're talking about with the squallers or the reeds sticking together and then messing up. I've not had an issue with that out there, and I've really got behind it a few times in the back on the back porch just to test it. And man, it sounds really good. I've already made one turkey gobble with it this spring, so
That's good. The biggest thing behind those is compared to a lot of the other ones, like I've had a few people test them, and they really like you to put a lot of air behind them to actually get it to go and actually make sounds.
yes.
You can really actually project way up there without even putting hardly any air behind.
Right, you're right. That's why you need one, Will.
The problem I've got now with the one I got is I cut it out sometimes. I don't know if mine's more like excitement or what. I'm not easy on stuff. So if I could blow that thing that don't cut out, then we're gonna be flying.
Yeah.
Well, you've already been turkey hunting once this year, Blake. But look, before we get there, I want just a quick question. If you could take one pot call into the woods, and it's the only one you could take this spring, what's that look like for you?
It's like you just asked him to pick one of his kids.
I know. Which one you want me to?
I can kind of tell both, but and then aside from there, the butterball. I'd say a heart and a cherry pot that's meshed together, and it's a random over glass. I have my prototype number 29 of that one is the very first one I ever made, and I've called in 60-ish birds with that call. Now, my little brother on there, he has not took 60 of those. He has took maybe like 5. So he can't hit the bronze at the bar and he gets so excited. That's probably, it's high pitch, it's raspy. It's just got just a small difference in tone compared to a lot of other calls. And that's what makes them gobble because they get educated. And when they get educated, they know the glass, they know the slate, they know, some people come from crystals, but it's that level. It's a different from a lot of soft.
I do like.
You can pretty much anything you want to do on it. That's probably my go-to.
Right. Well, cool. That speaking of that, the soft and high, but the green slate call you made me, man, that is impressive, and how you can crank down on that thing and it doesn't really sound. A lot of calls, if you start cranking down on them, they get kind of squeaky. This one, when me and Will fooled with it here, it just gets louder and sounds better. It sounds good, and it'll really carry. And then you can just.
I had to because they was too hard to see for a lot of people, and that was a major complaint that I was getting. They said, you got to bear down on them. You got to bear down on them. We can't. Well, I'll say on them real white, and you got to hammer them. So back to the drawing board, and my customers asked for one thing, and it took me a little while, but I figured it out.
Well, it sounds good. And you
Yeah,
get
you've
again
definitely figured it out.
with that one, you barely touch that, and it's got some of the prettiest purrs and clucks you can bring off a call off that. Now, is that, and we talked about this last week? Is there and we don't know. I mean, we're ignorant to it. Is there a texture difference in the green slate and just the standard slate, Kyle? Hardening? Okay.
Black is your softest, so it's the most forgiving. It kind of helps cover up mistakes, things like that. So a lot of beginner callers, the black slate's the one to go with. And you've got purple slate, which is a little bit harder, so it's a little bit higher pitch, throws a little bit more rasp in a call. And a green slate's harder than that, so you've played with that one, so you can tell the difference in that. And then you got a red slate. So pretty much it's the slate and the hardness of it as your colors.
Okay, man, that I'm impressed with the green slate. I've been fooling with it in the basement, driving everybody upstairs crazy during the day.
Well, you talked about it so much that I ordered one, so it's in process now. So
I do like it a lot.
Yeah,
It's
over glass.
So yeah, yours will be tested tomorrow and be matching a striker with it for then. And as long as
you
it
called
sounds,
2 gobblers in with mine. You called 2 gobblers in with mine, I reckon, down your driveway.
yeah, I did. I was testing that call and I was running it as a windy day, so I was like, man, that's perfect because it's a higher pitch call, so I'll go ahead and hit that. When it was 2, they was just barking every time I would hit that. They'd gobble and they'd gobble. And I said, I got to quit. We left about 10 minutes. And they was 2. And he was already all buzzed. He was ready. That's way too early.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That was a month and a half ago, wasn't it? I guess.
That's about a month ago. That's probably first or second week of March. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think season youth weekend should have been this weekend. I feel like it right now. I mean, because they're gobbling and strutting. I mean, we're seeing them strutting, hearing them gobble. And now the good news is with the 2 birds that we got picked out for Bub this weekend, if they stay there, there's a very limited number of hens there. Nobody has seen any hens with them in the field, so they're strutting in a field by themselves. No other turkeys. We hope to get that.
But yeah, I know to go back a little bit, but pretty pumped. I know last time we spent 30 minutes talking about Zach's call, and I was like, well, I'll just order one. During the podcast, I ordered one.
Oh, you'll be happy with it for sure.
I have no doubt.
So like we said, you hunted in Georgia, right? Georgia?
Yeah.
You want to tell us a little bit about that? I know what you've told me about it. It sounds like it was an awesome time.
Yeah, it was a blast. Down in Georgia, I went down for the youth day, youth weekend, and with the Courageous Outdoor Kids. It's a kids group. Of course, it's based out of Dublin, Georgia. They take kids with life-altering illnesses and outdoors. It's kind of like a minute as well. And it doesn't matter. Like, the first kid I took, he had arthritis in his knees. He was like, baby, I don't know. That was the first real hunt that I've had with them because I've always worked at a distance. I've got 2 boys up in this area that I taught to build turkey calls. So they're my apprentices, and I show them and teach them how to do things. That way they can build calls, and we're getting their business started and stuff like that. And they can build stuff to kind of raise money for that group as well because they actually went through the group. Now they've aged out, so now they're actually guiding hunts, which is really cool.
Awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
One of them called in a 4-beard down there, and a little boy busted a 4-bearded gobbler, like massive gobbler.
Wow.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Man, I taught him everything he knows. The hunt was big, but the group is the biggest thing I fell in love with it. And I'll get to the story of the turkey hunts here in a minute. I'm just going to say a little bit about the KOK.
Yeah, tell us about it.
That's like there were some that was in wheelchairs. You had some that had leukemia. Some that had cancer in their bones. They had, cancer in their brain. You had some that had just anything that you could think of. And I worked at a distance with that for, 3 years now. And I was like, well, I need to get down there. I've been down there for 3 years. I'm going to come. And something always happened. I wasn't able to. Well, this year I was like, I got to go. I have to go. And now since I went down there, I can't never not go. So,
right.
For that, and I will be there.
That's awesome.
It was a humbling and heartbreaking experience at the same time.
Yeah,
That's why her family's going to be watching. She's like, we bonded while we was there. Her name's Tiffany, and she was the second kid that I took out. Well, we sit there at the tree. She had, she was sitting on my left shoulder. I kind of had my back to her, and there wasn't no sign. It might have been a week-old sign, something like that, but a lot of hog and a lot of deer sign, but no turkey sign. So we sit there and we just talked, and I was trying to explain to her the things that were going on and what we was going to end up trying to do, where to shoot them at, difference in gobblers, jakes, hens. She was asking all kinds of questions, so I was telling her all that. And then I asked her, about herself. I said, well, can you tell me, if you don't mind, everything that's happened? And she started telling me. And I don't know if she could tell or not, but I boo-hooed. And she's just now going to figure this out if she didn't know, but I boo-hooed. I cried the whole time that she was talking to me. And she just pretty much ripped my heart out and stomped all over everything else. But at the same time, it was rewarding because she was so happy and outgoing and smiling and laughing the whole time. It was like a beacon of just sunlight and sunshine over all of it.
Wow.
She, pretty much after that, we all sit and talked and we just laughed and we cut up and we smiled and we pretty much just horse laughed. There was no way there was going to be any turkeys. Even if it was close, I was going to hear her, so we was laughing so hard. We bonded and stuff, and she ended up, I see her as like my little secret now. So, but we had another hunt the next day that ended up being pretty good. But she turned my outlook on everything for that whole group and actually makes me want to do everything for them that I possibly can. And I guess it's where I haven't told her. And I kind of put myself in her family situation and kind of could relate where she was a girl. She was 14. Now, she is 14, not was, but she is 14. She pretty much, I was sitting there in the woods and I was teaching her, I thought, but in the long run, she was teaching me. And she just, I don't know how to put it. Words can't describe it, but she changed a lot of my outlook on life and everything else and what I want to do with my life. And I know you're listening to this, so thank you. And I will be back in Georgia, and I want to see you on that call that I sent you. And we are going to hammer down on the next birds while I'm down there. So,
There you go.
Awesome.
But anyways, to the first hunt with that little boy. So him and his dad, neither one they'd ever been turkey hunting and know nothing about it. So me and another guy met up. His name was Ron. We went out. We was talking. It was early in the morning, just about the time they was going to start gobbling. Everybody starts hooting. Lo and behold, I always forget something, so I run off. I left my hunting boots, and I left my alligators. I had to buy fire hunting boots for my size is too big for me. So I was flopping through the woods with rubber boots on. They was eating my feet up. Got over there and we was sitting there and I was telling him everything that was going on. I said, well, what he's going to do, he's going to go down here, he's going to hoot with his mouth, and we're going to see if we can get one to gobble. I said, all right, yeah, okay. Well, I went down there and he started hooting and hooting, and there's nothing. And I was thinking, man, this ain't good. This ain't good already. Well, we sit there for a few more minutes. He gave me the thumbs up. He's going to do it again. So he started hooting again. That one guy, he asked me, he said, what kind of owl is that? And I told him a barred owl. And when I did, I turned my hand to talk to him because I got to talk with my hands most of the time. And I smacked my box call. And I did. It went, and as soon as it did that, Ron hit the ground. He come back waddling real quick, closed in 30 yards in about 5 seconds. He said, boys, we're right under him. We got to get down.
Oh, heck.
We started horse laughing. That's kind of like the icebreaker of the whole morning. And we kept on going after we got done horse laughing. Everybody got picked back up off the ground. And we went around, hooted, never did nothing, got another owl started. He never got nothing started. Done some tree yelps, didn't hear nothing. We closed in probably about a 400-yard mark and got to a food plot. I let out with a good light tree yelp, one gobbled. A good, I don't know, 400 yards away, something like that. So we said, well, we'll close that distance and we'll get there. Well, we took off. We got to right over the food plot into a Y, and you could go right and it'd take you to the hardwoods, and you had clear cuts of pines that's about 7 foot tall on each side of it. So you could go left, and it'd take you right down the hardwoods, and the clear cut was on the right side. I told her, Ron guy, I said, I'm just going to let out in a real high, hard yelp, see what we can get. You never know. There might be one that's a little bit closer, and we'll just see. I hit that thing. Well, it was one gobbled. He's about 250 yards straight ahead in the big oaks. So, man, we got to get. We dove. We went right straight to the hardwoods, ran up the road about I don't know, like 50 yards tucked over in. He got set down right there with Ron, right on the edge of the road, coming down from where that gobbler should have been roosted at. So if he had fly straight down, come down through there, he'd end up having a real good show of him, strutting and doing his little dance and gobbling and everything else. Me and his dad, we kind of sat about 20 yards back and about 12 yards into the woods, and we said, well, I said, well, I'll explain to you everything that's going to go on. I said, you never seen or heard none of this. I said, biggest thing is don't do anything. Don't blink. Don't do anything. Just don't move. So he said, all right. He said, all right. Well, after they got settled in, at night, I said, I'll go ahead and I'll let out a shortcut into a light yelp. Gobble. Bam. He was up there where we were standing at. So he had already closed the distance. He flew off, hit the other log road, and come running straight down to where we was at.
Oh, wow.
So at that point, that run through my mind, I was going, oh, crap. He's going to come in behind us. We can't get set up. He's the other guy up there, he kind of leaned around the tree and kind of gave me a little look, and he knew exactly what was getting ready to happen, too. So now the worst scenario you can possibly have with with a new hunter that has never turkey hunted or anything else. I said, I'll go ahead, and I hit some short yelps, hard cuts, back to short yelps, back into harsh cuts, and then 2 real short yelps again. He double gobbled. I told the guy, we got him. I said, you just wait. I said, he'll be right here on top of us in just a minute. I said, don't move. He took his glasses off, he put his head down, and he didn't move. Well, he's sitting there, and I said, in a second, you're going to. He said, what's that? I said, that's called spit drum. I said, when they're that close, they're shooting distance. You're going to hear them, you're going to see them. I didn't more than get that out of my mouth. That's what you heard, and I said, oh, crap, he's right there on top of us, standing right behind us, probably like 40, 50 yards. So,
Wow.
sitting up there, Ron's trying to get him off. That gobbler's going to catch us where we're sitting at, because we're kind of like, we're stuck out. Like, we're just horribly stuck out. I said, I got to do something. I said, I hope that guy can read my mind. I said, I really hope he can. I turned, I had my pot collar here. I done a little purr into a cluck, another purr into a cluck. Ron up there, he started raking leaves. I was like, oh man, yes, perfect. As soon as he raked them leaves, gobble, another gobbler with him. Another gobbler to our right was coming in right dead into us. So we had 3 gobblers.
Oh, wow.
And I put my call in my lap, and I said, we're just going to sit here. And I said, right here in a minute, that bird's going to walk right up there where he heard them leaves. I said, your boy's going to get a crack shot at it. I said, and hopefully he's going to take him out. I hadn't got more than that out of there, and I heard boom. Right when I heard that, I said, crap, I didn't even see the bird. I said, I don't know what happened. And Ron jumped up, and he did. He was in a hurry, so I said, oh, crap, I hit the bird. I probably was going to get up and take off running. I took off a dead sprint, running through there, run out into the road. I had calls flying everywhere. His hat was flying everywhere. Everything through my vest. We was running through there. I ran through the road, and I jumped up in it, and I looked right, looked left, looked ahead. I looked back at Ron. Where's it at? I looked back to the left, and that bird was another 40 yards down where we was from. That boy made a 50-yard shot.
Oh, wow.
I got down there, I took off, grabbed that bird, stomped on his head, and as soon as I turned that tree, the other gobbler was coming around the tree to jump on that gobbler. So I scared that
There you
gobbler.
go.
That's what I'm talking. Hey, that's one of them more. Hey, that's awesome, man.
And I got down.
That's a killer.
Ron come running up through there. Me and Ron, we was hugging each other, jumping up and down, jumping and stuff. I sound fire nature boy out there. I just woo the whole time. Ron could hear me. I was screaming at the top of my lungs from excitement. And that little boy, right before that, I told him, I said, you're going to be addicted if we call one in. He said, no, bear hunting. He said, that's the most adrenaline I've had. And he came running up to me and said, Mr. Blake, he said, I think I'm addicted. He said, I love this. This is
Yeah,
That's what it's all about right there.
that's good stuff, man.
you need to put it where that head pivots off where the neck feathers are. I said, put it right there, and I said, let him have it. And eventually I got to talk to Ron afterwards, and we all calmed down and quit shaking and hooping and hollering and stuff. And he said, that bird come in, and he said, that barrel was sitting here. And he said, I kind of looked over. He said, I was talking to that little fella, and he said, I told him, he said, it's too far. He said, I'll tell you when you need to shoot. He said, okay. He said, right now. He said, don't shoot. That little boy didn't hear don't.
Yeah, no
That's
kidding.
awesome. I like it when you can
That's a good morning.
You can pick up biscuits and have breakfast after you kill one. That's my favorite.
Daggone right.
That's awesome. We talked about that too there the other day, that sometimes when everything seems to be going bad, it's just going just right enough. Sounds like that's how it happened.
We went and set up. I got with another guy that I hadn't hunted with, and he was a box call man, so he could call, so that made me feel good. We got right off as we got to that property. They told me, they said, "Don't cut hard, yelp hard. Them birds don't like aggressiveness on this property. Just go with it. Just kind of ease into it." So okay.
Yes.
As soon as we got there, right off the roost, a hen, she started cutting, just like that. No pre-yips, no nothing. She started cutting, and there's about 10 or 12 more up and down through there. Every single one of them started cutting. I said, "Oh, man, that ain't good. There's too many hens and just one gobble."
Uh-huh.
So me and that guy, we got set up, and I told him, I said, "We're going to have to be boss hen." I said, "We're going to have to help it." He said, "I believe the same thing." So he got his box out. He was hitting it. I got my crystal out. I was hitting it. Every time that he would hit his, she would start. I would do everything that she was doing, and he would cut in because mine was a high pitched, younger sounding hen. His was a deep boss hen, and it was just back and forth, back and forth. So we got her aggravated enough. She came up, stood right there in the 15 yards, got to do her little thing, putting and stuff, and come in ready to fight. And eventually, she just wandered off. Gobbler never did come with her, so we said, "Well, crap," you know. And we ended up a little bit further down, cutting across the creek and hitting a ridge. Well, a ridge for Georgia, mark that. Because they would tell me, "Go down there on that ridge," and I'd be looking, and I'd say, "Boys, I don't see no ridge." And they just, theirs is just like little hills that far down in Georgia. But we got down there, we got set up again, and I called, had one gobble. "Oh, we might be all right here." We sitting down, had Tiffany on my right side, and I was talking to her and telling her everything's going on. I said, "Just get ready." I said, "That one's a goblin. We're going to try to get him to come down." Hadn't more said that. Been telling her about the spit drum, and she was wanting to hear that and stuff. Wasn't paying a bit more attention to my left, and I was looking straight ahead where that gobble was, and I said, "Oh crap, we got one right there." And he was coming up to our left, him and the hen. Come out in the road, stop 40 yards. Perfect. He was doing his little dance and stuff, standing there outside the hen. I could see him plain as day. I was going, "Oh gosh." I said, "There he is." I said, "You put it on his head, pull the trigger. Put it on his head, pull the trigger." I said, "Come on." I said, "You can get it." And she was over there, and she said, "There's a sapling in it." So she had a sapling that stayed right there on that turkey's head the whole time and couldn't get a shot. Well, he went off. That hen got up there about 70 yards right out of sight. It was kind of a thicket, and she started cutting. So I looked at Ron, kind of gave him a thumbs up. He started cutting hard through his mouth cone, and he started hitting. So I pulled my crystal out, like 3 hens versus that one hen. Probably like no more than 3-4 yelps in to all those calls are going. We had a gobbler pop out up there right where she went in. He was strutting. He'd go up a hill, and then he'd come back. And he'd go up a hill, and he'd come back. Every time she'd cut, we'd cut 3 times more. Eventually, he broke. When he broke, he started coming straight back, pretty much on a string, like just dead in line where we was at. I said, "Here he comes." I said, "He's coming right in." I said, "He's going to be right dead center." I said, "I don't see him." I said, "Thank you." And I didn't really say anything, but there was 3 of them. They was all coming right along, right in line. Them 2 in the back at 40 yards broke left from us, and they went down under the hill. And that one that was dead on us, he come up 30 yards, and he turned right. And he started right beside us. And that's the only bird I've seen. It didn't matter if you cut, you yelled, you clucked, purred. He was moving the whole time. He never would stop. And I was like, I don't know what had that happen before. But we were sitting there, and she seen the bird, and she got on him. Where he went stop, she didn't pull the trigger, which I thought she made a real good conscious decision on that. But I was telling her, I said, "Just breathe. Just breathe. Just dirt. Just breathe." He's breathing hard. Then after it's all said and done, I was like, "I told you." I said, "It's exciting." She said, "Oh man, this is adrenaline rushing." But she said, "You tell me to just breathe." She said, "You was breathing harder than me, and we was both about ready to hyperventilate." But I was doing my best. I was over there going, because birds was all coming down through there. I was getting excited.
Yeah.
But we stayed out. We missed like going back and eating there with everybody and all that. And I told her, I said, "We'll stay out as long as you possibly want." And said, "What happened?" Well, that evening we had another bird gobble, but he only gobbled once, and that was it. And we ended up losing that battle. But now she got to see like the excitement of it, and she said, "Man, this is so exciting." I never had that much rush, nothing. But you ain't even got one to gobble on top of you yet, and you ain't even got to pull the trigger on one yet. So you just wait. I said it's gonna be even more. But yeah, I had an
That's
absolute
awesome.
ball. She was probably, like I said, she's like my little sister now. That's how I see her. So I'm gonna have to make some special trips down to Georgia and all that, and go eat and hang out with the family wherever I can.
There you go. Awesome.
Sure. Yeah,
Sounds awesome.
it's unusual to get to take that many new people like in a short amount of time. Like, I've said a lot of times, like even just with Varner, like it's awesome to me to take a new person and kind of, see that what we felt. You know what I'm saying? The first time we ever went, to see that all over again is just as exciting. And now my kids are. I got 2 kids now, and the oldest one, she's in a couple of years she'll be able to go. And I'm already pumped for taking her, and like he's talking about taking Tyler's little boy here next weekend. I'm just it's a rush to me to see that, and then you add on top of that the kids that are sick and dealing with the things they're dealing with, and you're able to take them out like that. That's a really cool thing. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
I probably like saying though, like every one of them, they're kids, and they're happy, they're small, they're just kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what got me more than anything. And I was on my way back. I cried all night that night when I got back, and then I said, "Well, you ain't got nothing to ever complain about." I said, "You should have never mumbled." And then I cried all the way back from Georgia. I cried like 2 or 3 days after I got back. I'd be in my wife's shop helping her. I'd be like, "I'll be right back." And I go outside and I just, and then I come.
Yep.
He said, "Where'd you go?" I had to go cry. He just had Tommy, the guy that's over it, and told me, he said, I always tell everybody you can't explain it or even understand it until you experience it. And I was standing there where I left, and he said, "What can you put words with it?" He said, "What words would you choose to describe all this that goes on?" I told him, I said, "There's no words in any of the dictionaries or anything that could even remotely come close to explaining everything that goes on that's in this group and what it does and what it has done for me and impacted it." I said, "To me, you can't you just have to experience it." And that's the biggest thing about it. It's amazing. It's amazing. And then the families that's down there, they're not just acquaintances that you see. Those families that was down there that I got to be around, those are now. That's how I feel.
Right.
We all just bonded real tight. And then, of course, like I said, with Tiffany, I bonded with her more than I did anything, and she's my sister. Hopefully, she feels the same way. If not, that's all right, because that's how I feel.
That's pretty cool. And that's
Yes.
something that they'll remember forever too. Is stuff like that. That's good stuff.
Probably created a couple more turkey hunters too. Really, I mean, that's especially that little boy getting to see all them that way, and the golly. You had some mornings down there for sure.
Definitely, and that's the thing. Him and his dad actually went this weekend to see if they could get another one. They couldn't get no bird started or nothing, but they actually went this weekend just to see because they was hooked both of them, and they was ready.
That's
to roll.
good. That's awesome.
Good. That's good, man. I do love the kids getting involved in it, and that's awesome for you to go down there and take your time and do that. And sounds like it's made an impact on you as well. Probably, like you said, more so than maybe even what the kids had. But that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Really cool stuff. Anytime you can get
saying, just being able to watch everybody else, I get more enjoyment out of that because I just go and I call for people. I don't even turkey hunt. I mean, I just like to go call. I've killed my fair share.
Right.
Now I just to see everybody fly up, excited. Just like my daughter, she's 2. She went on her first turkey hunt when she was 13 months old. So, I mean, I've already started her out hurt, and she got her experience last year during that. This year, she actually was, how they do, and she went, that's what she did. What's that? Full excitement face. She a little.
Yeah.
Turkey. That's right.
Hey,
That's awesome.
Blake, will you, if you want to, you told me this story about her being in the woods with you, and you called one up, and she started cutting on that call, and stood up and got excited. That's a funny story. If you could tell that one, that'd be awesome.
So I made her a popcorn stove can so she could hold it and use it. She's been running my call since she was 10 months old, running the strikers over.
Wow, that's awesome.
We got up there, up the mountain. I seen one strutting, and we was in an open farm, big open pasture. And where we was at was kind of on the backside of a knoll. Anything that came could see me from my nose up, but couldn't see anything else below me. We had cedars kind of in behind us and stuff, and I was calling, and one brother, and he come out, and he was in the field, and I was like, heck yeah. I said, well, she may end up seeing one. And I took my bow because I didn't want to, make her gunshot or anything else. And I said, man, if he'll come up and he'll pop over that hill, she'll get to see him, and I'll let him have it, and she'll get to witness that first turkey hitter. And I always call and stuff, and that bird kept on coming, and then he locked up 50 minutes out. I was like, man, if I stand on that right now, I'm not even think twice. She was standing on there below me, and I was kind of looking out the corner of my eye, and she had her turkey call, and she's looking up at me. I said, you ready? And she's kind of looking at me. So I went into my little sink with always do shortcuts and the short yelps back into shortcuts all mixed in there. And she's over there and she's just giving it everything she had. Like she thought she was doing all that. She got excited. She had the turkey cock in one hand and the striker in the other hand. She threw them down and she went, that bird. Oh no, that ain't. That was probably the most memorable hunt I've had with her.
That's awesome. She couldn't be no more fired up if she'd have killed him.
Exciting.
Man, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's cool. Hey, are you still making the skull can size calls for the kids?
That's I got a mini pot that I do advertise here and there for kids. And then the wee mini is still pretty much in the works. It's kind of like a pot in a way, but it just gets the kids used to running it and doing what they need to do. Pretty much the basics and everything like how you need to hold it, how you need to run the striker, what angle it needs to be at, so they can learn, and it's easier for them to maintain.
That's awesome, man.
I'd be interested in one of them for sure.
Oh yeah, me and you both. I was just thinking about that. I was like, my little boy's
If
4.
we teach
so
all our
get him
kids
started.
If we teach all our kids to be real good callers at a young age, we just set them behind us 20 yards,
We'll be like Varn. We'll just have people just designated to call. Back here, call for that.
Yeah, Blake, he couldn't be on with us tonight, but my brother-in-law, he's got he's been diagnosed with adult onset hunting. He just got into hunting about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago.
4 or 5 years ago, yeah.
And killed his first gobbler 2 springs ago. And we video. It's probably the most exciting hunt I've ever been on in my life. It was a great time. And I actually kind of jacked the video up because I was too excited after he shot. I jumped up and run after the turkey screaming and hollering. But anyhow, we asked him if when he was gonna start learning to call a little bit, and he said he didn't want to. he said, "I got you fellers to do that for me." He might be on to something. But before we knock off here, Blake, tell us how people can find you.
I've got Facebook. Usually Instagram is what I primarily deal with. It seems like I can talk to a lot more people on there. Facebook, I kind of got in jail and I never got out. I've been thrown in prison. Yeah. And Instagram, it's starting to get that way. I've kind of had the same thing happen. I can't really do anything on there but post now. So the other way you can get hold of me is through my website. It's got all my contact information on there. It has my email address, has my cell phone number, and then the website's www.hollowbackgamecalls.com. HALLER, and it'll take you directly to the store, and you can just scroll down through there. You can see everything that we have in stock or what we can make. Cody done. You had your custom, build your own. Yeah. So he went and picked what he wanted, surface, soundboard, all that comes to me. That just takes a little bit longer to get the call out. But I usually try to keep a turnaround of custom calls on 2 weeks. And if I have the call in stock, which is pretty much every stereo call I have, they're usually next day shipping, sometimes 2 days. So
cool.
That's the best way to, but you can get a hold of them in that way. Most time I prefer somebody just to call me and I don't answer the phone. Just that's my fault because I never have it in my hands. I'm always occupied doing something, and I always get back to them. So if they leave me a message or they text me, as soon as I pick up my phone, I'll definitely call them back.
I'm not just saying that because you're on here, but I've ordered a lot of turkey calls through many different people, companies, whatever. And at the time I ordered my call, you didn't know me. We had never talked. I mean, obviously you had us on your social and we had you on ours, but you didn't know me from really Adam at the point in time. But I really like the fact that you texted me personally from your phone number to just let me know the status of my call. And that means a lot, and I think that'll go a long way for you. Obviously, you're big time now doing a lot of calls, but that's a really important thing, man. Just the personal call, the contact, actually having the person, the man that's making the calls contact you to be able to get in touch with if you have any questions or anything like that. It means a lot. So definitely a 5 out of 5 for me, buddy.
I to treat everybody like family and friends and not customers. I mean, because
Right.
I've had a lot of bad days with people, and I like to know what I'm doing in the loop and all that, and I figured everybody else does too. And most of the time, once your order comes in, if I ain't texted you within that day, it's usually within the next day or two if you got a text. And if you only put an email on there for a contact, you got an email, and if they don't see it, I can't really do much about that.
Right.
But no, I mean,
Well, I know.
and like I was talking, there's people that I've ordered calls before, and I won't mention any names, but not anybody that we're big with, messaged, and then you try to email to get in contact with them, and you never can get in contact with them. So, that's a big plus for sure.
Oh yeah.
And we'll tag. We'll put your. We'll throw the if you listen to this, the link to his site's going to be in the caption here, and his Facebook link and Instagram link. I like his Instagram page because he posts all them gorgeous turkey calls.
They are beautiful.
And the sound files are on that. That's what I was fixing to say before we got off here. If you're interested in how anything will sound, now granted, it's probably not going to sound the same in most people's hands as it does Blake's, but
he's good.
He demos all his calls out there, outside, so you get a good idea of what it sounds like, and that's I really like that. And you can, I mean, like I said, anything pretty much that he makes, he puts a sound file on there, and you can go listen to it. I really like that about your Instagram specifically.
Yeah, and then the sound files away from the camera. That way you can actually hear what it's supposed to sound like. Because if you're not up close to it helps, but if you actually get away from it,
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Absolutely.
If I have one and I haven't ran if somebody's interested in it, they can just contact me and say, "Hey, this is the one I'd like to hear." I'll run a sound file and I'll send it directly to them just within like a couple of days, as long as it ain't like pouring the rain or something like that.
Right.
Get out there and I can run in the weather because I've got some all weather strikers and they'll make them sing stand out in the pouring rain. But I'd prefer not to get out there and do that.
Awesome. Well, Blake, we appreciate you jumping on here with us, man. Especially now, I know this is a terribly busy time for you, and for you to sit down and talk to us, it means a lot. And you've been good to us, and we sure do appreciate that.
I thank y'all for letting me get on here and just jaw for a little bit and tell a few.
Well, yeah, we'll do another one with you there during turkey season sometime if you'll come back on.
Yeah, definitely. That's like, you never know. Maybe we can break away and I'll come call for you all.
That sounds good to me.
Awesome.
Hey, you could yes, Will. I'm not too proud to let somebody come call for me, buddy.
That's an open invitation, just so you know, anytime you want to.
Yeah, anytime.
Oh, because if I shoot it, I gotta kill it and I gotta clean it. So
yeah,
that's it. Well, good deal. Well, anybody got anything? Will, Cody, y'all got anything to end with?
No, man. I just, like Zach said, I'll just echo what he said a little bit. I appreciate you for taking the time, like busy time of your year of making calls and everything, but really appreciate you taking the time to talk, man. Means a lot.
Yep. Absolutely. Thank you a lot, and keep pumping out that good product, man. That's like I said, you're pumping out some great stuff, and it shows. I mean, you're 42 states wide and working on 50, so keep doing what you're doing. We're awful proud of you and thankful for your friendship, most importantly, and really thank you for coming on here with us for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And also, I want to put out there, I was talking about the Courageous Outdoor Kids also. It's a 501(c). Everything is 100% donated. That's like even down to the taxidermy mounts, the tags, lodging, the food. Like the families pay for absolutely nothing. It's 100% paid for. If you would like to go and support the group, you can look them up. You can even go on my page, which is on my website. I've got a tab on there that says the KOK. You just click on there. It can tell you how you need to donate if you'd like. support them. Anything like that. And if not, if you just want to type them in, it's Courageous Kid or Courageous Outdoor Kids, and Courageous is spelled with a K. So
I'm
Okay.
sure we could probably throw that link
No,
in there as well.
yeah.
Yeah,
If
stick it in the
that's,
show notes.
if that's good with you too, Blake, we'll throw it on there too. Share it on the Instagram too.
yeah,
And we need to get on there and we'll make us a donation too.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a good
sure.
thing they got going on. Well, boys, the next time we do this, it'll be after we've donned the mossy oak and hopefully put a bird on the ground.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate y'all coming. Thanks for everybody listening. Check the show notes for all the links in here. So thanks, Blake, for coming, and we'll see you guys next time.